This chapter was for us. This chapter was for us. Who's us? I'm talking about the meatheads. A man just wants to see hands being thrown.
Damn right.
And that's what we got. We got hands being thrown. Right now, it is 4:30 in the morning. I was streamed for 12 hours today. 7 of those hours were dedicated to One Piece reaction and yapping. And right now, I'm rubbing my hands like Birdman, nice and slow. Yeah, you know why? Because this chapter was fire. This chapter was peak fiction. Goats, that this. Roger and GARP versus Rocks Dieselbeck. What Sengoku talked about in the Ultimate Chapter 957, we got. It's for the first time in the entire arc, the God Valley section of the flashback, where you've gotten a genuine fight. In the same vein as 1037, in the same vein as chapter 1042, or even let's say maybe not as good as 1045, but still a lot of fight focused content. And that's what a lot of us wanted to see. We know that One Piece feasts on not just the fights. The main course of One Piece are not fights, obviously, but fights are still a part of the feast itself. They're not the star of the show, but come on. We need to see good fights. And this arc was lacking some good fights. Meathead glands are not going to be salivated alone with just clashes and combo moves. And we need to see actual hands be thrown for an extended period of time. What do we get in this chapter? Just that. And I was worried too, because in the middle of the chapter, we have the narrator talking like, no, please, God. Please, God. Please, God. No, don't do it. That horrified me. That horrified me. Once again, I streamed a lot. If you want to see that stream, you go over to my Cole Requiem YouTube channel. 7 hours of content. Crazy. For the first time on YouTube, the tier 3 discussion for the chapter, also on YouTube too. So let me know how you guys think about that over there. 1, 2. Oda's fleshing out Haki more, at least kind of, maybe, ish. Where Roger and GARP have to think about how to bypass the Conqueror's Haki wall that Rocks has going on. And then, okay, well, do you utilize mass? The TCB version were a little more sophisticated, a little more bourgeois. GARP, apply more mass to the Haki and break through. Oh, yes, of course, Roger, you're correct. Mass is the key. Ooh. That felt like hints of a power system like Hunter x Hunter. It has depth, it has weight to it, like, ooh, mass to it, right? Yeah. But then apparently in the One Piece scans, they say capacity. So essentially meaning just use more of your Haki, which is like, that's more like a Dragon Ball. Hey, how do you just beat someone? More ki. Duh. Just use more of your Haki, duh, and then just break through, duh. Like, oh, so it feels less sophisticated, which is not necessarily a bad thing per se, but there's a lot of fun in kind of diving into the minutia of complex power systems. If you have the component of mass, like actual MASS added to Haki in a sense, that could, let's say, be a sign of what we saw in Agate Island, where let's say Kuma adding mass to memories. Or another example could, let's say, be Black Blades. One of the things I said during my stream was, remember when Zoro first got Metal Shoe Sui in Thriller Bark? What'd he say? The blade weighed heavier. It had a heft to it. It was an elephant or a dinosaur, one of those two, could step on it and the blade wouldn't break. So there's a lot more sophistication when you use the word mass. Do you add mass to, let's say, the soul of the sword itself in some way? By adding enough mass, it turns to a black blade? So are we getting the key to Black Blades right here, right now? When Scabbard Gaban told Luffy, hey, be wary of how you use your Conqueror's Haki when you fight against these immortal dudes. Does that mean that he has to actually control his mass more so he can do more lasting damage to an immortal? Is it all about mass control? What? Like, the application of Haki becomes more sophisticated and I think more appealing when you have something like mass, because it's kind of more broad reaching, than, let's say, capacity. Because if, for example, it's literally, hey, Luffy, when you fight against the immortals, just use more Haki. Lol. I want to use the R word. That sounds ridiculous. Like, no. It sounds so dumb, it's hard to believe. Like Obito's mass reveal in Naruto. Like, Toru's Obito? Come on. Come on. Come on. There's just no way, man. Hell no. I refuse to believe that. No. Well, that was the case. So maybe it is the case where it's just capacity, just use more hockey low. So I'm hoping that the official, when they get to it, they're gonna talk about mass and things of that sort. They're gonna be a little more complicated, more sophisticated, rather than say capacity. That's what I'm hoping for. But it does add, context to other ideas too, like no matter what. For example, remember when you had Big Mom and Kaido? They couldn't be moved in Law's room. It's because they have like a constant barrier of hockey around them, even like passively. Well, it looks like with Roxy, they're down to 10. Even the hockey attacks that they were using were getting all canceled out by the hockey, the force, whatever Rox was doing. He's just outputting so much more hockey where he's flat out negating other supreme coded hockey abilities passively. That's kind of crazy. So it comes like a war of attrition, and now it's about, okay, how do you just bust through that? We'll just use more hockey. Or you have more mass. So one of those two. So I do appreciate Oda kind of dive into that a little bit more, and those details we're gonna find out for sure. The second biggest thing we had to talk about for sure in this chapter was the beginning, where the beginning's like, brother, hold on, did Rox do a solo sky split, or does that include Garp and Roger? That was a debate. That was a big debate. I'm leaning heavily towards it was Rox and Rox alone, because my idea is this: if it was Garp and if it was Roger, why not have that sky split happen earlier in the clash? You have Garp punch him right in the nose, and then you have Roger block his sword swing. There was no sky split there. It was only until Rox with his sword. Then you have not only the sky split, but then also you have the same design that we saw when Whitebeard and Roger clashed in the olden flashback. The same, I think, for chapter 1010 with Kaido and Luffy, where you see that sort of striation, like line effect around people in the environment, showing like the crazy impact, and then being blown away. And then the hockey that's being unleashed, and like it goes for miles upon miles off the shore of the island. So Rox, I think, is now the third person to show this. One is unclear, and that's Luffy in chapter 1044, where I think it's implied that Luffy could do it or did do it, but we don't necessarily see it. In the anime, they just show it to you full on, but in the manga, it's not necessarily shown. Number two is, of course, the Joy Hockey knot, where you do see the sky split, and we do see those big balls that go on for miles offshore the island. So this is insane. That's a lot of hockey. I think the main question now is, though, hold up, is Rox doing that because of Imu's powers turning him into a demon, or could Rox always do that, but he never exerted enough mass or capacity to do that? That's the question. Is it more like Imu is adding power to Rox, or is Imu utilizing the power that Rox already has inside of his body, and then like in the same vein as Enma, and then it's his hockey alone? We know that Imu, because of the demon thing, can make them bigger and physically stronger and give them mortal bodies. But what about the hockey that they utilize? Is Imu also adding hockey or no? So you have to wonder. But all in all, like, yo, this chapter, man, this is why I'm here at 4:30 in the morning after a 12-hour stream yapping about it. That's how good it was. Though listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, it ain't perfect, because number one, I ain't gonna lie to you, dude, this whole thing with Gloriosa, oof. And you may say, well, who cares? But at the same time, when are we ever going to see a Prime Gloriosa do anything really at all in the story? So if not God Valley here, then when? Also, Kaido, Big Mom, crazy situation, but also it may have been a retcon, because there was like a chapter during the Kaido flashback where after God Valley, Big Mom's looking for Kaido on Hachinoso, but according to this chapter, they kind of parted ways on God Valley. So is that a retcon? It might be. Also, Pologram, dude, I can't. You know, guys told me that Pologram, and I think they're being serious too, is stronger than Kaido. Prime Kaido. Yeah, it was getting toxic. 7 hours of what used to yapping will do that to you. It was getting hella toxic. It was getting crazy. But Pologram reveal. Marco's dad, who probably also eats pineapples with the skin on. Disgusting. And then also getting to find out that Gilbert Star from the Wanted one-shots has Perona's power, which harkens back to the idea that he could see Ghost in the one-shot. So we had Perona's ghost power. Creative. So this chapter does a lot of things that are very, very good. Of course, the dragon crash out too. There's a lot of things I want to get into for sure. That's what we're going to do a review later on in the week, or I guess next week, early next week. So Slap, Oda kicked ass. It was outstanding. Love to see it, absolutely. And what Sengoku had hyped up in chapter 957, over 200 chapters later. Oh yeah, in many ways, it did deliver. Seeing Roger and Garp square up against rocks, beautiful, beautiful. But let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. If you enjoy the video content, make sure to give a thumbs up, sub to the channel, and of course, click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you guys and gals on the flip side.
See you. Bye bye.